Now I'm just going to talk while I'm eating. This is KeNneth Bach. KeNneth Bach to some, Ken Bach to some others, and KeNneth Bach to my given name, Kenneth Gordon Bach. I'm just going to speak for a moment. You should think before you speak, because the words that you use can either heat up the room or cool it off, like air conditioning or like a heater. And the hot things that you say can destroy lives. The cool things that you say can change lives. Bruce Lee said, become like water flowing in a river that rolls over the rocks, be able to adjust. But sometimes when people use words the wrong way, they disrupt that river and they disrupt that flow, and then it becomes a stream until it learns how to flow again. So see, sometimes what we do is we hold our children back, we hold family members back, we hold friends back from the bad words we say, or the jealousy we have within, or whatever it could be. But if you can learn to focus and think before you speak, you can learn how to not cuss, you can learn how to speak properly, you can learn how to pronounce your words, you can learn other languages. ¿Cómo estás? Bien. You can follow your passion. You can find your purpose, but it all starts out by becoming a dreamer. You can become a dreamer. And I say this, I do a lot of one-on-ones. And I say, if you can become a dreamer while you're working, while you're in the garden, or wherever you're at, dream about use your imagination on how you want your life to be. Even if you're living your dream already, just always be dreaming, because that's the ability we have as humans, as people, as adults, as babies, as I'm thinking. That's why I hesitation. But see, those dreams become your goals. And I talk about writing your goals down, because one of my favorite sayings is, the palest ink is stronger than the strongest memory. Let me say that again. The palest ink is stronger than the strongest memory. That means write it down. What can you get from that? Let's look into the past for a moment. You go into caves, you find things that were written down. You see horse drawings that were drawn from thousands of years ago. You see literature that was written from thousands of years ago, the Bible, or books, or anything that has to do with history. You can see things that are written down by God by looking at a river flowing through the rocks. You can look at a mountain and see something that was written by God, that was decided, planted seeds, and the seeds became trees. And he made the world, he started things to function. And then he brought man and woman into the world. First man, then woman, from his rib, put man asleep, took his rib, and became a woman, and developed a woman. How's that? And they were supposed to be man and wife. And things were perfect back then. They lived many, many years, hundreds of years, but they took it off track. They could have lived forever, but they took it off track by doing things that they were told not to, by not following direction. And I talk about that today. I ask people if they can follow direction. I just asked somebody last night online. I said, can you go to your site and check me out over there? I'm already on your site. But they didn't want to follow directions, so I said, okay, next, time to move on. See, because I'm looking for people that are willing to be a follower and then become a leader. Because you must become a follower first before you become a leader. But be careful who you follow. Be careful when you're a leader what you lead them to. All right? It's not about money. People laugh sometimes, especially some people that are really on the top of their money game. They laugh. Oh, you say it's not about money. Well, I know money's necessary, and I'll say it like this. The bigger your dreams and goals are, the more money you need to help to help them become reality, to be able to help others in a broader scale to get your message. How's that? Or to get, and the old saying, I learned this from Zig Ziglar, and I'm sure you learned it from someone before him. The more people you help get what they want out of life, the more you will get what you want out of life. And it just totally makes sense. See, once I understood certain principles early in life, some things came from my mother and father, or sharing, or loving, pretending, preparing, focusing, developing, skills, your talents. When it all comes to play, you can go back to when you just started walking, when you first stood up and fell down. Your parents let you get up again and say, you're all right, brushed you off and say, you'll be okay. Or you bumped your head on the table and they checked you out. Sometimes maybe it was bad enough they had to take you to the doctor, but sometimes it didn't, and they said, you'll be okay, and you did it again. And after the first few kids, things get easier. You're not so afraid of what can happen to your children because you know things are going to happen to them, but they must go through some of those trials and tribulations. No matter how much you want to help them, they must go through some of those on their own. But of course, the more we help develop them before they leave the nest is good. And if you prepare them properly, they should be able to be good parents, good to others, friendly, happy. Excuse me, I'm taking a couple vitamins, watching my soup here, stirring my soup. You hear me clicking? Anyway, and I left at being happy, okay? Because a lot of people say, oh, I want to be happy. And they think they need all this money to be happy. But I challenge you to go somewhere out in nature for more than one day and observe, enjoy the streams, enjoy nature, enjoy what God created for us before money came along. I watched a video, and you can check this out. There was a man that moved to Canada. He moved there when he was in his 50s, but he lived there till he was in his 80s. And then, he built a little cabin, and he had a little boat, lived next to a river. He built his refrigerator, I guess you'd call it, above in some trees where the bears couldn't get to it. But he learned how to live off nature. He would go into town once in a while, which was a long journey. He'd go on the water with his canoe that he had and get a few different supplies because we all can enjoy the things that are modern, don't get me wrong, but he really enjoyed, see, he came from a business world before he was in his 50s to the point where he just had enough of it. And he went back to nature and he found true happiness. And you can find it in the cities, don't get me wrong. But you have to be patient. You have to be observant. You have to appreciate people, even though some people are being mean to you. You have to forgive. You have to, I keep saying you have to. You don't have to do anything I'm talking about here. I just offer things, by the way. I like to present that to you because as a speaker, and I call myself a motivational speaker, I try to inspire you. And I say it just like that, inspire you. See, because I learned early in life what a desire is, what a burning desire is. And there's a difference. A desire is just, you have the thoughts and the ideas of something you want to do. And then it becomes a burning desire where nothing will stop you until death. Okay? Because you will achieve what you conceived in your mind if you get that desire, that burning desire, and you find your passion, and then you find your purpose. See, because sometimes, just like the gentleman that went to, look him up, by the way, the gentleman that went to Canada, spent 30 years living in a cabin. It's all documented. You can look it up. A lot of great videos. He did video. He had his own camera then. He documented a lot of those. So cool. Just like I'm documenting now. Maybe I got my ideas, some of my ideas from him. But the more you document things, your thoughts, your thinking, the broader your mind becomes. And the more you appreciate the littlest things up into the biggest things in life, you appreciate the overall. Like yesterday, one of my neighbors killed a little snake. It was a little pygmy rattlesnake. And I understood his thoughts. And I said to him, I wish he would have called me first because I would have come caught the snake and turned him loose somewhere. Because I believe everything has a reason now. If it is born, I believe it has a reason to be here. Because God wants it to survive just like us. And if you look into the heavens and you look at around, this is my theory. How's that? I'm getting into my theory now. If you look into the heavens and look around, how can you not say there's a God? How can you not say there's not something greater than us out there? Especially when they say the universes go on into infinity now. They believe they're just, they don't even know how many there is. And then they discovered the black hole, you know. But the more you study science, the more you look at fiction, the more you can kind of put some of the two things together, believe it or not. Because imagination was given to us as a gift. I say that because if you can imagine, you can think of so many different things that could relate to one thing. How's that? You can imagine, like right now I'm imagining how wonderful it was for my parents in the past when they sat down after work and enjoyed each other's company, and they laughed at their children, and they cried with their children, and they had their moments of despair, and they had their moments of happiness. I can only imagine. See? Now let's talk about the moment. Today it's 2019, and it's the 22nd. Excuse me, it's the 23rd. It's the 23rd because it's 12:02 at night. You got a little piece of me in there, and that's okay. You can see my little wrinkle there, but it's okay because I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of my age. I used to be, when I turned 40, I was afraid to say I was 40. Well, now I'm 61 and I'm proud of it. See, because just like when I was a child, there was a time when I was afraid to be around. I was embarrassed to be with my parents. But then there was a moment where I wished I could be around him today. I would give up all that I have, and that's where it'll be one day when it's over. I'll be giving up all I have to be with him again. How's that? Because the material things we have, no matter how much you accumulate, and like me, I've become what do they call it? A hoarding rat. But I look at it differently, because I will start selling some of the things off that I have, organizing them, and some things to leave for others. But I walk around my house, and my houses, I should say, and my things that I accumulated, and I said, well, that's cool. Well, that's cool. And I enjoy moments in different places that I go. And sometimes you have to understand, no matter how many properties or how many acres, or even if you own the state, let's say the state of Florida, or the country, like the president, he's the president of the country. He doesn't own it, but what I'm saying is, all we are is just managers of the land. Okay, you can say that a few different ways if you want, but we never really own anything. If you stop paying your taxes, find out how fast you lose it. I don't care how many times you paid it off, for instance, and you think it's paid for. Well, it's mine. It's not really yours. You're just a manager of the land. You're the overseer of the land. You're the guy that cuts the grass, if you like. I like cutting grass. You're the woman that gets up in the morning and brushes her teeth and goes out there and plants flowers because you love your garden. Or you're the man that plants trees. I call it planting seeds. See, I plant seeds in people's minds just like I'm doing right now. Because if you're listening to this long enough, you'll get my message. My message is on this one, quite a few things. Okay, it's the whole cup of tea, I call it. It's the whole scenario. And some people will listen to this and say, geez, he jumps around. Well, I jump around because right now I'm using my imagination. I'm using my past. I'm using my my dreams, my little fiction put in there of what it could be in your dreams or in your imagination. I'm using my creativity. I'm using many things that come to mind to help you find happiness, see? Because happiness, you can find... I say this because I heard it years ago, and at first I didn't understand it, but now I understand it, so I always use it as an example. You can find happiness laying on a park bench, looking up at the moon, or looking up at the sky, the blue sky. I'm going to use a little imagination. We're going to change stories there. We're going to stay on that park bench, okay? You can stay there. Let's say it was sunny out when you laid down on that park bench. I say lay down. You could sit there, whatever you want to do. You can read a book. Let's throw a few things in there. Whatever you want to do while you're on that park bench. Now, you could be totally content if you was to observe the world around you. Hey. And get focused on the moment. Get focused on your life in general. My dog's shaking off, and I had to stop her. She was chewing on herself. She had a little... She got over a little problem. How's that? A little itchiness problem. She's over it now, but she's still picking on herself. But anyway, let's get back to what I'm talking about here. Using your imagination, you're on that park bench. Oh, sorry, dropped something. Anyway, I tried to catch it. But see, you're not seeing me now because I'm speaking. You're seeing that fan up there. You're seeing that... Let's see if I can get that beam of light. There it is, going across to the side there. You're seeing that, but if you can use your imagination, you can picture what I'm talking about right now. It's still on the park bench. Now we're looking up, and it's a beautiful sky. Let's just say it's a blue sky for the moment. And you're looking up, and you're breathing in and out because you're living. You're alive. Okay, that's the gift that we're given is breath. Okay, and when you're gone, you take your last breath. Right, when you leave this world, you take your last breath. Well, as many breaths that you get, or as many beats of your heart that you get throughout your lifetime, feel blessed. So now let's get back to that park bench. Your heart's beating, you're looking up at that beautiful sky, and now clouds start coming through the sky. And all of a sudden you see things because you're using your imagination. You see horses in the clouds. You see doves in the clouds. You see angels in the clouds. You see what your imagination or what God puts there for maybe you to see. That's using your imagination right there. See, because I've said to a few people, and they know who they are if they were to listen to this, is that if you're mad at God and you left God, He did not leave you, you left Him. He's always been there for you. Remember the one thing where the guy's walking down the beach and he asked God, "Where are you? Where are you?" And God says, "Look back. You see only one thing of footsteps." And he says, "Yes, well, that's my footsteps." And God says, "No, that was me carrying you." See, He's been with you the whole time, see? So, what you have to understand, I'm opening my vitamin box right now. I'm using my imagination as it helps me think, see? I'm thinking before I speak. Now tell me, am I crazy at this moment? We're still talking about this park bench, because now we're going to change the scene. We're going to change the scene on that park bench. Here we go. Now the clouds went away. This blue sky went away. It's getting dark. And you just happened to bring a sandwich with you. So you brought your sandwich, and let's think about that sandwich for a minute. What did you make? What did you put on it? Did you put roast beef? Did you put chicken? Or maybe you're vegan. You put vegetables. Or whatever it is you put on that sandwich. You use your imagination right now, and you decide. But I'm just saying, you brought yourself a sandwich because you decided that you wanted to sit on that park bench or lay on that park bench for a certain amount of time to find true happiness, okay? Because of what I said, okay? Let's just say because of what I said to you. Try it. So maybe in the first, I'm sorry. Maybe in the first few minutes, you didn't discover anything because you're saying, Ken, well, how could he say something like that? You can be happy. You can find happiness using your imagination, laying on a park bench. Well, then all of a sudden you're there a half an hour. And all of a sudden things are starting to become pleasing to you because you looked up at that beautiful sky. But remember, it's changing now. It's getting dark. The moon's coming up over the ocean because you're sitting on a bench next to the ocean. We're going to add that in, okay? And you look out, you see that moon coming up, and there's still some clouds out there in the sky. And then someone walks by, and they hand you a water bottle, unopened, so that way you'll know that you'll take it, you know. And give it to you, so you take that water bottle, and you say, "Thank you." And they say, "You're welcome." Well, there you go. You passed a little happiness on, and so did they. And now they see what you're doing, and there's another bench a little further down. And they decide to sit on it or lay on it. You decide. And they start looking up at the sky. Now, they're not going to see the same thing you see the same way you see it, okay? Because maybe they had a little more turmoil in their day, or maybe they had a little more happiness in their day, whatever it was. But they see, and they're a little bit further away from you, so they see it from a different angle. Are you following me so far? I'm trying to think before I speak, but I'm trying to be creative here. And we're talking about being on that park bench. So now, you just all of a sudden look at your watch and you notice you've been on that park bench. You decide now, but I'm going to throw it in there. You've been on that park bench for an hour. And you say, geez, I'm enjoying this so much, I'm going to stay here a little longer. Well, then you look out over that big ocean and you see a dolphin jump because it just happens to be in the moonlight. Then you see a big whale jump because you see him in the moonlight, the glistening on the water. You see it. And I've seen it before, so you know. I'm using my imagination now, but I've seen these things, okay? Maybe you have. Maybe you've seen more than I have. We used to go diving when I was a kid, but we're not going to change this. We're going to stay on this park bench here. Now all of a sudden, you ate your sandwich, you're feeling good again, you drank your water from your friend, and your friend is still over there on the park bench also. Because now he wants to see why you are so long on that park bench. Well, now he or she, you decide, starts discovering some of the things that you're discovering, that they're enjoying that moment in time. See? Because whether it's 10 minutes, a half hour, or 2 hours, or 5 hours, however long you want to be on that park bench, you can enjoy it if you look what God has created for you to enjoy. Now, did you spend any money? Well, maybe you had to spend a couple dollars for that sandwich, but remember, the water was given to you. So that person might have spent $1 or so for that water. But what I'm trying to get at, folks, you need to be happy. And no matter what situation you're in, no matter how much money you're making, on whatever your goals that you've set or your dreams that you've created, you need to learn how to be happy along your journey. Now, does that make sense? Did I make sense to you? Are you understanding where I'm coming from? Because now I'm going to end this. It's at 27 minutes. And I'm going to go a couple more minutes because I got to tell you a couple things. I'm going to reheat my soup because I also am sitting in my chair at my dining room table. You can see the fan running, but I am enjoying this moment in time, sharing my thoughts with you. This is KeNneth Bach, motivational speaker. I need to reheat my soup now because I did a few songs for you. I've sat here and talked with you. I've talked really with myself, okay, because I thought before I spoke, so I put thought into what I wanted to say to you, but I'm saying it to me also, see? I'm enjoying this moment. I'm enjoying this, watching the fan turn on my phone there. I'm enjoying looking at my water bottle here, my glass of water, because I try to drink a lot of water. I'm enjoying my soup, but I'm enjoying planting seeds at this moment. I'm enjoying offering you my thoughts and documenting my thoughts for others to hear down the road. This is KB, KeNneth Bach, Kenny Bach, Kenneth Gordon Bach, the son of Frank Joseph Bach, the son of Catherine Minch Bach. See, I'm thinking before I speak, and I can go back to of course I don't know their names, but I can say my mom's last name, okay? I can say my father's last name and say their parents, and then of course if I ask relatives or if I look up documentation, I can give you their names, so we could go on and on and on, back into the last written document. But now, because of DNA, they can go back even further. So use your imagination. Find happiness in the moment in time where you're at. Don't be mad if I say money's not. It's necessary. I say it's necessary, okay? Like I said, the bigger your dreams are, it's more necessary, depending on your journey. Now, if it's a nature journey, you just need to learn how to survive in nature. How's that? So if it's, like in my case, I want my words, my thoughts to get around the world. I want to help millions of people to change their lives if they want to focus on what I have to say. It's 30 minutes. This is KeNneth Bach. I'm going to end this one and say thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of the park bench. We'll call this one the park bench. I am pleasing to say that I'm proud of what I put together here. Whether you think or what you say will not change my thinking on this, okay? So be careful what you say to others. Be careful how you're thinking to yourself, because you can think positive or negative, just like you could be on that bench and be miserable, by the way. I had to throw that in. Or you can be absolutely, positively happy as a little field mouse. So you decide what road you want to go down. Because I wake up just like you every morning. Some mornings I'm negative, and I have to work into that positivity. No matter how long I've been practicing my principles, I have to work into it. Does that make sense? Just like when I'm too positive and I'm trying to help so many people, I can tend to get overbearing. So forgive me for that. But all I'm trying to do is offer you things that I've learned, okay? And so forgive me for that. And I'm talking about my family, friends, and relatives, people that might even hear this now and say, oh, this guy, he talks too much. Well, you might think so, but I'm just using my thoughts, and this is my time. This is my dime, I should say. This is my video. So you can turn it off at any moment, or you can look me up again and look at one of my other videos, because I don't edit my videos. What you see is what you get. Like right now, you're seeing that spinning fan, and I've been looking at it so long, I'm getting a headache. So it's time to go. KeNneth Bach. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye now.